But if you're tuning in to my latest historical video, well, this is the historical video for the summer of 1975, and as the title suggests, it's fire and ice. It's looking at the snow, the unusual snow event happened at the start of June in what was otherwise an exceptionally hot summer. It really was a very good summer indeed, 1975, and if it wasn't for the even better summer in 1976, a lot of people would remember 1975 as a real classic, but it's something of a forgotten summer really, because 1976 was even drier, even hotter. But 1975 in any other decade would have been a top summer for a decade. It really was a superb summer once we got the snow out of the way. Now, before I get on with the video, I just want to talk about the advertisement. Usually be a video ad overlaying my weather videos here at gazweathervids.com. Please play those video ads, because you'll be supporting gazweathervids.com if you do this. Also want to talk about websites where I'm getting the charts from. It's weathercentral.de. You can find it on my links page. And this video has been helped a great deal by the website of Trevor Harley. Now, you can find Trevor Harley's website on my links page as well. It's got loads of historical information for years, going right way back 1900. In fact, even going further back than 1900. There really is some incredible information on that website. So go to that website if you want to look up any year in particular from 1900 to now, or even further back, and you want some information. It's all indexed by years and by months. It's got all the CET section temperatures back to 1900. It really is an incredible resource, and it's a great site to go and have a look at. So go and check those sites out for yourself. Right then, this is the situation on the 29th of May 1975. This is where we're going to start this video. We've got high pressure up around Greenland. We've got the low pressure over Scandinavia. We're pulling down this northerly wind, or we're starting to pull down this northerly wind. Now, if we go on further through these charts to the 31st of May, well, we've got the northerly winds setting in there. Going on further into the 1st of June, and we can see what's happening here is that we've got the blocking area of high pressure out of west of the country going up to Greenland, and we've got this trough developing over Iceland. We've also got the main area of low pressure up over Scandinavia. So we've got the cold air feeding down from the north, but we've also got this trough of low pressure forming over Iceland. As we go to the 2nd of June, and this is when the snow event was, we can see that trough has formed a big area of low pressure over Scotland. There's a lot of precipitation in with that, and we're pulling in this cold north or northeasterly wind. Now, have a look at the 850 temperatures. We can see, but actually they weren't anything to write home about. But a -5 line that we normally expect to give us snow in the winter, that's well to the north of the country, so we're not in -5 upper air temperatures. But even so, we know that snow was falling with this. So as the low pressure tracks southwards across the country, and it's sitting there across the coast of East Anglia by the 3rd of June, as that low pressure tracked southwards, it did bring an awful lot of snow. So there was snow laying across the Midlands, there was sleet as far south as the south coast, can you believe? And famously, snow stopped play in a county cricket match in Buxton. Also, there was some snow falling in the Lords cricket ground in London, and the midday temperature across East Anglia was just 2 degrees Celsius on the 2nd of June. Absolutely incredible. This was actually a once in 250 year event. It's been hypothesised, and it's difficult to know whether that's true or not really. The weather is so random that this could happen at any point really, but certainly it's been hypothesised this is a once in 250 year event. And temperatures on the 4th of June were down to -6 on the grass at Kew Gardens in London. So it really was a very exceptional event, with this area of low pressure sitting off the coast of East Anglia, pulling down these northerly winds. And as I say, there was snow falling quite widely across the country on the 2nd of June, and famously across many parts of the country that snow did fall. And again, it means that the 850 temperatures as we go into the 2nd of June again, and nothing to write home about. So really, I think the snow event was actually caused more probably by evaporative cooling 850 upper air temperatures. The 850 temperatures don't really support snow, but snow did fall. I think it probably happened through evaporative cooling more than anything else, but it really was a very exceptional event. But a one-off event, and by the 5th of June, high pressure was starting to re-establish, and certainly by the time we get to the 8th of June and further on beyond that into the 12th of June, those temperatures were really rocketing, so that we were seeing 30 Celsius by the 12th of June, 25 Celsius by the 6th of June, 30 Celsius by the 12th of June, really high temperatures coming straight off the back of that snow event. It must have been quite extraordinary. I wasn't alive then, but it must have been quite extraordinary to see snow falling and laying at the start of June, and then just a few days later the temperatures were up into the 80s Fahrenheit. But it just goes to show you how quickly things can change, and this really sets the scene then for the rest of the summer. This area of high pressure building up from the Azores, the jet stream being shunted off well to the north of the country. This is a classic signal for warm weather, and this was generally the dominating pattern throughout the rest of the summer, this area of high pressure ridging across the country. So as we go further out into the 20th of June, we've still got that high pressure dominating the weather across many parts of the country, still very warm in many places. It was a very dry month as well, June 1975. It was much drier than average. And as we go into the 30th of June, the end of June, still got the high pressure there dominating across the country. As I say, it's ridging in from the Azores, with jet stream indicated by this black line here and the green colours behind it, shunted well to the north, up towards Iceland, up towards Greenland, and that high pressure very much dominating the weather throughout the course of June 1975. So despite the very cold, snowy start with frost, it was actually a warmer than average month. The Central England temperature was 14.7, so quite a warm month, and as I say, a very dry month as well. Now, as we go into July 1975, the warm weather continues. So this is the chart for the 7th of July 1975. That high pressure very much dominating the weather over the top of the country, and as we go further on, when it did turn a little bit more unsettled through the middle of July 1975, there was a few thunderstorms around, but it was generally quite a dry month. But it was a little cooler, more unsettled as we went through into the middle of the month, but then into the latter part of the month, high pressure showing signs of coming back here from the south, the jet stream beginning to get shoved away back to the north, and certainly by the time we get through to the end of July, that high pressure really was coming back. It was starting to dominate the weather once again. The weather was warming up once again, and actually July 1975 was a very warm month with a Central England temperature of 17.4. That wouldn't be too shabby in any decent summer really, and I say it was a decent July, but it wasn't done yet because August was even better. This is the chart for the 3rd of August 1975. High pressure really dominated weather, and this is a hot chart as well. There was a real heat wave at the start of August 1975, temperatures up to 32, 33, 34, 35 degrees in some places. That's well into the mid-90s Fahrenheit, so it's a very hot start to August with a widespread heat wave across all parts of the country. And that heat stayed with us as we go further on into the month. In fact, the 8th of August was the peak of the heat, with the temperatures say up to 34, 35 degrees. And going into the middle of August, well, it's still very warm scene, not as warm, but it's still a warm scene. We've got that high pressure there going up towards Scandinavia now, and we're bringing a weaker pressure through. Actually, the 14th of August did see a very impressive supercell thunderstorm across London, and in Hampstead we recorded 170 millimetres of rain, that's 6.5 inches of rain in 2 hours in that supercell thunderstorm. So there was isolated thunderstorms around through August 1975. There was some violent thunderstorms, but again, it was generally a very dry summer really for many parts of the country. And it did turn a little bit more unsettled as we went to the 20th of August, but then the high pressure comes back again as we go towards the end of August. It was a very warm and dry end to that month, and this really is the start of the drought. It's the start of a drought that peaked in 1976, but the drought has its origins really in 1975 and in this hot summer. And the CET temperature, the Central England temperature of August 1975 was 8.7. That's a very, very high CET indeed. It's a very hot month, and that would that's on a par really with the classic summer months of the 90s and the 2000s. Really, it is up there with the best of the summer months. As I say, if it wasn't for the even hotter and even drier summer of 1976, the summer of 1975 would easily be remembered as a hot classic summer across many parts for many parts of the country. But it's a bit of a forgotten summer really, because it's tends to be overshadowed by 1976, but it was a classic. Now the heat carried on into the start of September 1975. The ridge is still there on the 2nd of September 1975, and the high pressure did dominate weather, and it's still there across the south at least on the 8th. But then we saw an abrupt change, and by the 10th, well, the weather was turning much cooler, much more unsettled. And this is typical of hot months in the 20th century. Many of the hot months in the 20th century did turn cool and unsettled, or I should say many of the hot summers in the 20th century did turn cool and unsettled in September. Now this hasn't been the case so much in recent years. The heat has tended to go on and on and on into September as well, but certainly before the last few years, hotter summers did tend to have cool, unsettled Septembers, and this was no different. As we see here, the heat wave was really ended by the time we get through to the middle of September. Low pressure is very much dominated, bringing a lot of heavy rain here and very cool temperatures as well. And going up to the end of September, the pattern was very cool, unsettled and disturbed. So I hope you've enjoyed this little look at the summer of 1975. I'd say it was a classic summer, and it's a bit of a forgotten summer because 1976 tends to overshadow it, but it's easily up there. 1975 is easily up there with the best of the summers, the best of the hot and dry summers. It really was a glorious summer right away from June through to the start of September. A superb summer indeed. But as I say, we did have that snow event at the start of June, a once in 250 year event in an otherwise hot summer. It just goes to show you never know what the British weather has in store. You can have snow in a hot summer. Absolutely incredible. It just goes to show you never know what's going to happen with our weather. Hope you enjoyed the video. That's all for now.